What's up, Vape fam? Hope everyone's doing good tonight. Don't know who all is here at the moment. Let me know how my audio's doing, because YouTube is giving me a weird kind of warning that doesn't make any sense with my streaming software. So if anybody's tuned in, let me know if my audio is jacked up or not. I don't know, it keeps kind of coming in and coming out. Hopefully my audio's not all screwed up, so we're just going to keep on going forward. There's my wife in chat, thank you, because I was not sure. All right, so it's off. Okay, sounds good to me. All right, I'm just going to roll with it unless it gives me that notification again, because what it's telling me is not what my OBS is actually set to, so it's kind of weird. All right, so what we're doing tonight is kind of... Oh, is that what's going on? I think that's more YouTube. Let me see what I can do. Hang on just a second. Yeah, I don't know. Everything on my end is good. Hopefully it clears up. I'm sorry if it's a little weird to get used to. So I'm just going to roll with it. All right. So doing underappreciated RDAs. And there's several that I really, really like that I think are somewhat underrated or underappreciated. So we're going to take a look at 3 of those. We're going to do the drop 1.5, which is actually one of my favorite RDAs out there. And while it did kind of get, you know, a lot of praise of somewhat when it first came out, it was constantly looked at as, you know, not as good as the original, which I actually disagree with. And, you know, just not as good as some of the other RDAs that were coming out at the time, but I really, really enjoy that RDA. Another one is the Hellbeast from Hellvape. Now, if you've been a fan of my channel for a while, you know I really like that RDA, and I think it is extremely underrated. It is a bit wonky if you want to use clockwise wrap coils, but it's really not that difficult. Once you get the technique down, there's really no problem. But for the most part, I use a lot of counterclockwise wrap coils, so it's really the perfect RDA for me as far as just drop in your coils, clamp them down, pulse and pinch, wick it, and be on your way. The other one is the only RDA I think that Geek Vape has ever made that is actually good. Not a huge fan of Geek Vape rebuildables in general, but the Tallo X was actually one that they did that I thought was really, really good. So we're actually going to start out with that one. But first, I'm going to talk about what I'm vaping on. This is RDA for Vaping V2 on top of the Bushido from Russian Custom Mods. Still vaping on an RDA for Vaping V2 pretty regularly, pretty much every single day. I have another one of them that I really want to send off to Ashton at Palmer's Powders when I send off a couple of other things, but I don't know when I'm going to be able to do that. But if I do, I definitely want to send that along with him and get that one done up in orange as well. Sleepster, how's it going? I think the Barrage is totally underrated. Yeah, I mean, hey, if you like, I'm pretty much pro whatever you like is cool with me. I was not a fan of the Barrage very much, but you know, if you liked it, then hell yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Tallo X. That's the one I want to start off with. Got a very, very simple design to it. Really just kind of a 4-post system, but almost more of a block. Then the airflow for it is really just a single slit, but kind of done up in almost a honeycomb pattern. So airflow on it was actually pretty smooth overall. And for being just a standard side airflow RDA, I think the airflow on it actually worked really well, and the flavor off of it was pretty damn good. For me, the Geek Vape Tsunami was fantastic. Watofo Troll V2, good random addies, flavor chasers. You need to get the X. People tell me it's good on mechs. This one, the Tallo X or the Troll X. The Troll X is pretty good on mechanical mods. I actually have one, I think right here, that I have not even opened. Yeah. I can't show it to you because, you know, with Tofo, they splash URLs all over the place. All right, go ahead and back these grub screws out a little bit more. This had some older coils in it, and then took those out. I didn't even realize they were still in the RDA. And all of these we're going to stick on mechanical mods. This one I'm going to stick on the Tauren Max, my usual place for it, because it's one of the few RDAs that I have that actually matches up pretty good with the black Tallo X. That is not black, it is more gunmetal. I don't care what they say. It looks black sort of here, but all the sparkly to it just makes it gunmetal. No black RDA that I have matches up with this, but a lot of gunmetal ones, especially if they're more of a matte gunmetal, they will match up with this pretty damn well. All right. So coils I'm going to use on this one. Actually, I think I'm going to use some more of these Watofo 0.22 aliens. Kind of been using these off and on here recently as a break from either my usual Twisted Timmy's for aliens or my Coilology Alien V2s. So for this one, I'm going to cut it pretty short. Are y'all trolling? What's up, Sam? All right. So I think let's do these about a 5. You can do this as a 4. If you're like me or you've ever seen Beecher build the original RDA for vaping, he always cuts it at a 4 and basically slams it against the deck, then tightens it down and picks them up, kind of stretches the leg so it's just barely off of the deck. But with this one, I normally like it better as a 5. right about there. Pretty much already touching the deck anyway. So I'm still going to have to do kind of that pull up on it. But with this one, it's definitely kind of closer to the deck, the better, I think. If I can get them both in here at the same time, pretty level. All right. Like I said, this is the only Geek Vape RDA, at least, that I actually like. That Geek Vape Z RDA had a ton of potential, but in the end, still kind of sucked. Straighten them up there, and then we'll pick them up a little bit. To get them off the deck there. Yep, should be pretty good right about there. Actually, I want to pull them out just a hair. I think about right there is good. All right. Came out to 0.06. Go ahead and pulse and pinch this bad boy. Now, I used to use this RDA a lot more than I have been. Actually, the drop is another one that I used to use a lot, and then just, you know, slowly other RDAs came about and kind of took its spot. But I've been meaning to put this stainless steel drop that I have on the stainless steel Dreamer that I finally got back in. And this one I've always really enjoyed on the Tarn Max. I don't think I ever did a video of it, but if you're familiar with the Tarn Max or the Vert 2 or the original Vert, any mechanical mod that uses those contact plates, they normally coat them in a dielectric grease. On all of those, I wipe that stuff off because, kind of like Mooch says, there's nothing better for voltage transfer than metal on metal contact. And when I did it with the Tarn Max, you know, which already is a pretty damn hard hitting mechanical mod, but once you take that dielectric paste off there and reassemble it, the thing hits like a damn freight train to the face. Yeah, the Z not coming with a squonk pen. I don't know what they were thinking there. I really don't. I have found a few squonk pens that work with it, and I love how Geek Vape tried to backpedal there and was like, no, 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 there's just any regular squonk pen will work with it. No, no, it won't. I had to hunt. It's kind of like the Danny V2. I had to hunt to find a squonk pen that would actually work with it. There it finally goes. Still got a few little hot spots. I gotta say, I'm still pretty shocked by these 0.22 aliens from Watofo. They come out nice shades of blue. One of the few Chinese made coils I actually like. All right, grab some wicks. Let that cool down. Wasp Nano bottom feed pin works for the Geek Vape Z. I didn't try the Wasp Nano pin. I have to give that one a go. I have several Wasp Nanos. So they're kind of one that I would not mind the squonk pin being used elsewhere. Didn't use rebuildables when the first drop came out, but I got the 1.5 and I get great flavor off that thing. It does have great flavor, especially for a dual coil. My only issue with it, actually, I was talking to somebody on Instagram messaged me, and he was having issues with the Kennedy 25 darkening his cotton a little too quickly. And I'd had that whole conversation before. I think it was between me and Apathy Miller, where we were talking about atomizers where the cotton actually lays against either the top cap or a lot of it lays against, say, a really tall juice well wall like the Kennedy 25. Most of your wick is kind of touching that juice well wall down in there. Seems like RDAs that have that going on, the wicks darken up quicker than most. And I think it's just top cap and those kind of wick well walls also getting hot as you're vaping them, and kind of causes that caramelization effect in the e-liquid to happen on the outer portions of the cotton that is up against the wick well wall or the top cap. And the drop, at least the 1.5, definitely has that going on, where your wicks are kind of laying up against the top cap. So for this one with the wicks, I don't cut them very long. Honestly, that may be too long right there, but we'll give it a go and see. Drop Dead is a classic. The Drop Dead is a damn good one. Cotton I'm using still that Amosa cotton. I just can't find too much that really competes with it. Although I do need to get some more of that Maviton X, because that cotton works just outstanding. And the Maviton X lasts a little bit longer than this Amosa cotton. When I do the drop, I actually have a recipe I just kind of finished up, and no, it's not my Twinkie recipe, although that one is pretty much finished. If you were here for live mixing, I was kind of talking about how that one needed Philadelphia butter cake from Wonder Flavors, and I got it in today, added it at about 0.5%, and it worked extremely nicely. Now that kind of golden brown note to the sponge cake is gone, and it's just a nice creamy sponge cake and a nice cream layer there. We'll do our Mike Vapes flip. This one is pretty easy to wick overall. You can really kind of do the swoop and tuck on this one, and it works just as well. But recipe I'm going to do today is one I've been working on for a little bit, which is my strawberry overdose custard. So once I build the drop up, it'll kind of be the first larger quantity of it that I've made up since I kind of got it right. One side looks decent, the other side looks like shit. There we go. That one just needed to be picked up some. A little too tucked down in there. I'm kind of finicky with my wicks. All right. So what I'm going to use for this one is a recipe that's actually an older recipe of mine, but I just recently posted it to all the flavors. It's called Berries in the Mist. It's basically just Capella's Berry Cooler and then using other flavors to enhance it to where I don't have to use it so high. A lot of recipes I see Berry Cooler in are almost like they're just trying to do it as a one shot. They'll do it at 7-8%, and I can't hack Berry Cooler at 7%. That's just way too much eucalyptus and anise for me to handle. But with this one, I kind of enhanced the raspberry and came out to 0.1, which is normally what these come out to, not 0.11 like you would think. Almost every single time they just end up coming out to 0.1, but that's fine with me. But with Berries in the Mist, I basically just took Berry Cooler, which, like I said, uses eucalyptus and anise to kind of give it a coolant effect, which is a coolant effect I actually like. I'm not big on heavy duty. I don't like Culata. Definitely don't like menthol. Do like spearmint, and WS-23 is okay, but with this one, added a little bit of black currant to it, a little bit of apricot to kind of juicy it up, and then also give kind of that mild peach-like taste that apricot has. And then added some shisha raspberry to it, pumped the raspberry up a little more, and it turns out really nice. And the eucalyptus and anise in it gets smoothed out because I'm not using Berry Cooler at such a high percentage. I actually really like this recipe. Although anytime I vape it, I think most people think I'm been taking cough medicine or something, because that eucalyptus does give a bit of that kind of note to it. All right, let's jump back up top here. So actually, hang on just a second. That's how top cap is. Once we get it down, it's mostly side airflow, but it's at the point where some of that airflow is actually going to get underneath the coil there just a little bit. I think that's why this one works so much better than any other Geek Vape RDA out there. Strip on this a little bit more. Didn't realize I had this huge Ultim drip tip on it. Sorry, can't hardly see where the airflow's cut down on this one. I think that's about where we want it. 0.1, we'll start out at 70 watts. See how this does. Chasing Clouds, Linda, what's up? Just built up the Tallo X from Geek Vape. Really like the only RDA from Geek Vape I've ever actually liked. Come on now. There we go. Juice I'm using with it is my Berries in the Mist recipe. To really, like I was saying before, it's more kind of taking Capella's Berry Cooler and then really enhancing it, but turning down that kind of eucalyptus anise note to a more manageable level. I didn't like the Tsunami. Yeah, this is really good. It actually has a ton of airflow options. Check this out. Hard to see the airflow just through that. You kind of have to play with it a little bit. But it has way more airflow options than you would think. It doesn't just cut down row by row. It actually kind of cuts down half of the slit on some, a little bit more on others. and then you can kind of just totally cut individual ones off with these sides. So it's pretty interesting the amount of airflow options they gave this thing, only having pretty much a straight kind of honeycomb slit. But also, like, as you got like a light to shine through it, it's kind of like the Asgard Mini. You just have to play with the airflow till you get it right. But there's enough options that I'm pretty confident just about anybody could find the perfect airflow for them. All right. Seems like, actually, let me crank this up before I just slap that on the mic. Just make sure I don't get any kind of short or anything like that. Pump it up to 110. That's really good. It's been a while since I've vaped this berries in the mist on like kind of high wattage, low resistance coils. And that black currant and raspberry note really comes out in it quite well. And I use Vape Train's Shisha Raspberry and Vape Train Shisha Black Currant. I do like FA's Black Currant better, but Vape Train Shisha Black Currant has that little bit of grapish note on kind of the exhale, and it just works with Berry Cooler a little bit better. All right, so what we got it all up as now. See, this is gunmetal, and it actually matches up fairly decent with this, but any black atomizer that I stuck on this, and this is supposed to be the Tarn Max in black, won't match up at all. It'll look way more off-putting than this right here. And again, if you're familiar with this one, I did uses kind of contact plates to make contact with a ball that is actually part of the constant contact for the battery. It uses dielectric grease on those kind of plates for the contact portion. I washed all that dielectric grease off after seeing Mooch do tests on this where he did it with the dielectric grease on there and then he washed it off, and then he did voltage tests on it after that, and the voltage transfer went through the roof. And it hits a lot harder once you take that stuff off. But you kind of have to clean arcing marks off a little more. Yeah, that's really good. Rip a little more. Yeah, I definitely think this is an underrated RDA. There wasn't a whole lot of fanfare to it, or you didn't hear a whole lot of people talking about it outside of like the initial reviews, which were all kind of like, yeah, it's good, but it's not great. But definitely consistent. It's super easy to build on. You just kind of drop your coils in, reposition them, pulse, pinch, wick, and you're ready to go. Works great on a mech, works great on a regulated device, and the flavor off of it is pretty damn good. And it gives you just a ton of airflow options. You have this mod and you get a bunch of arcing. I haven't gotten a lot of arc damage. Spelling wise, I think it's ARCHING, but I could be totally wrong. I don't get a whole lot of arc damage. I have had to clean it off before, so it's not like I don't get any. I've got the white one as well. But I don't know. I haven't had to clean off too much of it, but I'm also like, I don't know, I tinker with it a lot. So that could also be kind of why I don't get so much arc damage. All right. So one of the other ones that I definitely wanted to take a look at then go ahead and build up. And I consider to be definitely an underrated RDA is the Hellbeast from Hellvape. Now this was kind of one that a lot of people did reviews and they were like, flavor's great off of it, hits great and everything, but those kind of off-center posts throws everybody off. These right here, especially if you like using clockwise round wrapped coils, because with anti-clockwise wrapped coils, you really just cut it to a 5, drop them in there, and that's it. They sit almost damn near perfect. But if you've got clockwise wrapped coils, you kind of have to cut them a little bit longer, about a 7 or an 8. And then you really have to get one leg in, clamp it down, and then kind of turn it to get the other leg in. It's not a huge hassle, but it's definitely a little bit more of a pain in the ass than most RDAs are. Coils I'm going to use for this one are Coilology Alien V2s. These should come out to about 0.09, 0.1, somewhere along those lines. And this is an RDA that I've used a lot. The blue one that I have pretty much has a permanent home on my blue topside SQ. And it has just been an absolute trooper. One coil, that needs to 5. Flavor off of it's great. Seems like, I don't know, it seems like coils and cotton last fairly long in this RDA, so it's not rough on them. But yeah, because of the offset nature of them with counterclockwise coils, pretty much sit in there perfect right off the bat, which I like. It makes kind of building on this thing an absolute breeze if you're using counter or anti-clockwise wrap coils. Blind as a bat. There we go. So yes, not much in the way of repositioning is going to have to go on with that. It will be a little bit, but again on this side, kind of drop them in. Come on. There we go. Sometimes I'm too blind to do this stuff on camera. It's almost like doing it completely blinded with some of these smaller screws. Love your Dead Rabbit V2. That's all you've been using lately. I think that the Dead Rabbit V2 and especially the Dead Rabbit 3 are easily some of the most underrated RDAs out there. And I think it's because people just got sick of Dead Rabbits coming out. But doesn't mean what did come out wasn't good, because I would say the Dead Rabbit 3 is up there as one of my favorite RDAs, period. See what's going to sit with airflow. One of the things I do like about this airflow, kind of triple layered, but you can cut everything down just like a hole at a time, a row at a time. So it's real easy to dial in whatever airflow it is that you want. And yeah, about perfect for all side and undercoil airflow. Little bit of kind of the top side of the coil there. Again, came out to 0.06 on this one, just like the 0.22s. Drop it down a little bit more on these. Actually, I want to look at something real quick. before I do this. Now, I think they're. Just want to make sure everything is going to line up right and that they were positioned where they needed to be. You can move them closer to the airflow, but I don't really notice a huge difference in flavor when I do that. Pretty much just where they end up after you drop them in and clamp them down, at least for me, has been just the best position for them in general. Are you talking about you want to get RDA V3? You talking about the Dead Rabbit V3? I've got the Dead Rabbit Solo coming my way soon, hopefully. It's all pre-ordered up, so there'll definitely be a review on that one. I'm pretty anxious to give that one a try. It looks really simple, but a lot of times simple is best. So I think it's either going to be really good or it's just going to be meh. Dead Rabbit V3, yeah. I was kind of one of those that I just thought it was good, but you know, nothing blew me away about it necessarily. Then over the months, I just found myself reaching for it more and more, and now it's a daily RDA for me. And now I have several of them because I just really enjoy using that RDA. Flavor off of it is spectacular. All right, I think that's good. This one right here, talking about the Dead Rabbit V2 and Dead Rabbit V3. This is extremely similar to both the Dead Rabbits. It's kind of that same idea of just a standard side airflow RDA where the coils just kind of sit right in the middle and airflow hits it pretty much everywhere on the side and a little bit underneath, and it just produces really good flavor. Oh, hey, thanks a lot. D, hey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching me fumble around with some RDAs. We're doing underappreciated RDAs, as I'm sure you already knew from the thumbnail. We built up the Tallo X starting out, and this is the Hellbeast from Hellvape. But yeah, like I was saying, it's pretty similar to the Dead Rabbit V2 and Dead Rabbit V3 kind of concept. I think it's why it works so well. Single coil RDA. The Dead Rabbit Solo is a single coil RDA. The 22 millimeter basically has kind of the bunny ear post, but just two of them right in the center. And then being 22 millimeters, I don't know. That's kind of why I said it's either going to be really good or it's just going to be meh, because it's really just a coil sitting in the middle of a 22 millimeter standard side airflow RDA. So nothing spectacular going on, but Dead Rabbit 3 proved to be, one of my favorites. So definitely going to reserve judgment on the Solo. He's out of the way. Cotton Bacon Prime? If so, how do you find it? There's places out there that are still, that it's still available. I can't say on live stream necessarily, but there are places out there. You do a little bit of hunting, you'll find it. Linda, take care. Thanks for popping in. Oh, how do I find it in terms of flavor and longevity? It's okay. Cotton bacon prime to me takes a while to break in. But overall, I mean, it's good cotton for sure. I think there's better cotton out there that breaks in quicker, lasts a little bit longer, and has better flavor. And then also, price too. Price is an important factor in it, at least. So with cotton bacon, it's a little pricey for what you get. So it used to be the only thing I would use was cotton bacon. And then I kind of experimented around and found other cottons I liked a little bit better. So just like the Dead Rabbit or Dead Rabbit V2 or the V3, things pretty simple to wick. Probably do want to cut your wicks a little long just because they're kind of sitting up so high. Right. Caveman, what's up, brother? Fusion bang for buck. I don't know that cotton. I'm going to have to hunt that down. I don't know that cotton. And I thought I had tried every cotton out there, really. All right, what I'm using for this one is my sour blue raspberry lemonade. I love this recipe. We'll also check and see what our coils came out to before we kind of fire this sucker. Should be about 0.09, 0.1, 0.09 looks like. Oh wait, we didn't fire these. Well, I'm gonna roll with it for now. See if I get hot spots. If I do, I'll have to re-wick it after the stream. But yeah, I didn't fire those. Too busy talking about the RDA. All right. Yeah, it came out to 0.1. Sorry. It did actually do what I needed it to do there. But yeah, that fusion cotton I am not familiar with. Yeah, Sleepster, that's probably my favorite, or my second favorite cotton is that Maviton X. It breaks in extremely quick. It is long lasting. I really enjoy that stuff. You find that Muji has a huge break-in time. Broke in, it tastes like ass. The Muji pads definitely do. Actually, the Muji regular cotton I'm not a huge fan of. But this Samoza stuff I like. All right, let me get this airflow about where I want it. There we go. Jump back up top. So I basically just have the top row cut off and like one little hole over here. I've used this RDA so much I know pretty much exactly where I need it dialed into. Really don't like that drip tip. I think I threw this drip tip on here just to stick it on something until I didn't lose it. But we'll just roll with it for now. Came out to 0.1, start out at 75 watts, see how it does. That's really good. It vapes extremely similar to the Dead Rabbit 3, not so much the Dead Rabbit V2, which kind of has a restrictive pull to it just from having very little airflow. But it is very reminiscent of the Dead Rabbit V3, or flip that, Dead Rabbit 3 is very reminiscent of this since it came out first. Elite V2 is an RDA I think is criminally slept on. I don't think I have tried that one. What else going on in chat? You only use Muji. I have a huge bag of Maviton X, but I tried it 3 times and I can't figure it out. I don't know what's to figure out about it, I guess, but there's a few other cottons that I really like. I like Cloud9 a lot, especially if I'm going to build series. That's pretty much the cotton I'm going to go with if I have any. It's a little hard to source here in the States, at least. And then KGB cotton. But KGB cotton is hard for me to actually just mess with because it has a weird crunchiness to it. And so anytime I'm wicking something with it, it's almost like nails on a chalkboard trying to mess with that stuff. And I don't know why it has that crunchiness to it. At first I was like, that can't be good. Hopefully it's not fiberglass fibers in there. Shipping prices are ridiculous, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's expensive. The Cloud9 is, it's like what, a meter of cotton for like 10 bucks. This thing vapes so good. Let me crank up the wattage and then I'm going to stick it on the Kennedy Vindicator. As long as I don't get any shorts or anything like that. Like higher wattages and lower resistance is where this RDA really shines. Kind of why I always have the blue one on my topside SQ. Usually with a pair of 0.1 aliens in there. Because it just does so well. With higher wattages, lower resistance. Battery. Stick a Molicel P42A in here. 4 packs of Mimosa for the price that, yeah, you definitely can, easy. They sell those big 10-pack things too for like next to nothing. Jay Hayes' favorite cotton is Maviton X. It's good stuff. It breaks in quick. Now it will char really easy. Like if you have Maviton X cotton in there and you kind of dry fire it, it will char. The cotton's pretty much ruined. You're going to have to re-wick it. At least that's what I found. Oh, it's okay. Chasing clouds, it's always too thick or too thin. I sort of had that issue going on with this Mimosa cotton at first because for 3mm ID coils, you would think, you know, maybe it's just rip it in half and then that's perfect for dual coils, but that's too thin. You kind of have to almost be wasteful and take a chunk off of it and just trial and error finally get it right. And for 2.5mm ID coils, it's a bigger pain in the ass, but in the end, it's so cheap that it really makes it, I don't know, at least for me, more worth it to kind of have waste or fuck with that cotton a little bit more than, you know, something like Cloud9 that's going to cost me 10 bucks for 1 foot, not 4 or 5 bucks for 13 feet. Anna cotton. Anna cotton's pretty good. I'd never heard of it till I saw it on a particular site that I'm not going to mention. And so when I was kind of testing cottons, I jumped all over that. But yeah, it's pretty damn good. Honestly, I did not try it for series. I'm gonna have to go back and try that on a series build. This blue raspberry, sour blue raspberry lemonade, it's really good. What was this RDA? It's definitely an underrated RDA. And I think really the only reason it's underrated is, like I said before, it has that offset post that if you mainly use clockwise wrap coils, if you buy your coils from, you know, a coil maker, handmade coils, they're probably going to be wrapped clockwise because most people are right-handed. But I still think it's a damn good RDA, even if you are using clockwise wrap coils. Try this drip tip with it. That weird kind of curved drip tip I had on it was not very comfortable. KGB and Cloud9 I always thought was the same cotton. You get little cotton for the money. Was shocked at how little compared to Fusion. I gotta try that Fusion. I don't know, KGB and that one doesn't want to stay on. KGB and Cloud9 are definitely not the same cotton. At least I don't think so, because KGB has that weird crunchiness to it. I don't know what the hell that is, but it's definitely there. There we go. That one will work. And Cloud9 is just super fluffy and dense. I really should have filmed all that cotton testing just to do a video up going over cotton and differences between some of them. An off taste with KGB. That's not the first time I've heard that either. It takes a while to break in. So I don't know if it's that whatever that crunchiness is to it, but it definitely takes a while to break in. All right, let's go ahead and get to the last one. Everyone is different too. Yeah, cotton is almost the same thing as flavorings, different types of e-liquid, different types of coils. Everything's so subjective. A Moses $20 here in the UK for like that 13-foot pack, or is it less than that? Because that's nuts. Here you can get that 13-foot bag for like, what, I think it's like $4.95, or you can get 4 packs of them for like $10. I like the Watofo X fiber cotton, especially if I'm gonna build mesh. It works really well. Their 6mm X fiber cotton works really well for mesh. The only problem with it is I can't do like my crazy wick job. If you've ever seen that video I did about wicking mesh and having the wick job last for a month, where I went over the whole process of watching it get worse and worse over a month. That's the way I normally like to wick mesh. It's super thick, but that X fiber is not quite thick enough to last me that long. It will eventually get cotton collapse, you know, sooner than probably should. All right, so with these, I cut these relatively short because I don't want to cut underneath them. Always kind of cut them and then pick them up a little bit. Probably should cut them a little bit longer than I did. Yeah, this might work. Yeah, definitely should cut these a little bit longer. It's been a minute since I built this. Sorry, I had to get a little up close and personal with it. I think that's about got it. About right there. I'm at the 0.07. Turn my wattage down here some. Still need to adjust those. I think that's better. Haven't seen what? Oh, are you talking about the mesh wicking video and the whole month time lapse dealio? RDA or RTA for everyday use. My normal RDA for everyday use is the nitrous from Damn Vape, the Asgard Mini, and recently the RDA for vaping V2. But also the Dead Rabbit 3. I can't forget that one. This really gonna bug me if it won't pick up. There it goes. All right. All right. I think that's about got it. I'm still being picky with coil position because I should have cut these legs a little bit longer. But I think that's pretty spot on. Make sure I didn't just give myself a bunch more hot spots. All right, there we go. Yeah, the new Dead Rabbit Solo is basically the airflow of the Dead Rabbit 3, except now you can cut it down a row at a time or a hole at a time, cutting down all 3 rows at once. So it basically has a Dead Rabbit 3's airflow, but also a hole at a time, which I think is awesome. So it's kind of like a combo of what Dead Rabbit 3 does and what the Hellbeast does. I don't know, I'm on half a milligram of Nick, and I still feel it, but I also vape a lot. All right, wick this up. Yeah, I'm glad they listened too, because although I still really like the Dead Rabbit 3, but I think it would have been even better had you been able to cut down a hole at a time, a row at a time. That way, anybody really could have been able to dial in their kind of perfect airflow. Now these, the juice well's pretty deep, so you kind of want to cut it a little long. Not like that. Now this is an RDA I really dig as well. When it first came out, I kind of ranted and raved about it. And I used it just religiously there for a while. And then just through kind of the channel starting up and testing a bunch of different RDAs and all that, it just kind of fell out of use. And here recently, I was like, I really need to build the drop 1.5 again, because it's been like a year since I've vaped on it. I think that's pretty good. And Mike Vape flips this stuff in here. Yeah. This might actually be a little bit too much. Oh, no. Needed a little finagling. All right. I think that looks pretty good. Now for this one, I'm going to use my strawberry overdose custard, which is new. I haven't even made the recipe on all the flavors public yet, which I'll probably do after this. But I really dig this recipe. And this will be the first time I've tried it at real high wattage. And this is the first kind of bigger bottle, aside from a tester, that I've ever made up of it. Well, it came out to 0.1. Clean out these wicks just a little bit. The room note off of this is extremely good. Already this whole office smells like strawberry or strawberry cream. All right, swap back over. See what I missed in chat. Did you lower the milligrams? If you're getting nicked out at 3 milligram free base dual coil 75 watt, yeah, probably. Really can't hurt to lower it anyway. Yeah, I agree with K-Man. You can always try it out and then see if it's not enough, or you end up finding yourself vaping just way more than you want to kind of catch up on your nick. You can always go back. You can always drop it down, just, you know, go down to 2.5. Missed the throat hit. All right. Crank this up some. I had it at 60, so I'm gonna go ahead and crank it just all the way up to 85. See how this does. Airflow on the drop 1.5, if you don't know, is 4 rows of 3 holes, but they're all vertical. And then as you cut them down, it'll kind of cut down 1 hole at a time, starting with the top, going all the way down, but it will not all the way cut off the bottom. So eventually the bottom will just open up to a solid slit. Oh wait, yeah, you can, never mind. You can cut that solid slit down even more. I'm not sure why you would want to, but you can. I normally like it with the bottom 3 fully open, top one closed all the way off. This recipe is really good. Just skimmed the mesh wicking tutorial you did and gotta say bravo. Thanks, man. I really dug doing that one, and it's kind of one of those things with the way that I wick mesh. A lot of people I know, the first time I ever showed them that, they're like, you are fucking insane. I'm not doing that. That's just too much you know how much juice I'm gonna have to use? But really, you only use a lot of juice to get it all saturated. But then after that, I really go through about the same amount of juice that I would using a dual coil RDA at, you know, kind of low resistance. Joshua, what's up? Yeah, I'm digging this. I'll go ahead and crank it up to the usual 110 just to make sure it's not gonna short out on me or anything like that. And then we'll go ahead and stick it on the stainless steel Dreamer. Your late start. All right, where's the first RDA? Oh God, the Tallo X. Let's rip these coils out of here. Mowgli wasn't here, damn it. We got to start over. All right. Yeah, we did the Tallo X Mowgli, the Hellbeast, and just finished up the drop. I'm about to stick it on the Dreamer. Now that I know it's not going to short out on me. Actually, since I haven't used this in quite a while, I'm going to check the 510 pin. It's good. And I'm going to check the positive post pin. This will work good as well. Oh yeah, that looks good. I don't know if any of you all are fans of stainless steel mods. I know one of those, like gunmetal. There's certain people that like it and certain people that hate it, but I used to be one that I did not like stainless steel at all. And then just for the sake of completing the collection, I got the stainless steel Dreamer. And after that, I was like, all right, yeah, I'm kind of sold on stainless steel. That right there looks really good. I like the touch of the kind of Ultim drip tip on the top with the copper switch on the bottom. Probably at some point I might flip this. I've noticed whenever, you know, because this is kind of curved to fit in your hand. So when the Dreamer's right here and your airflow is right here instead of the front of your RDA, if you flip the Dreamer as far as, you know, put your 510 hybrid connection on the bottom, your switch up here, it normally corrects that where the Dreamer will be kind of right there. I'll probably eventually do that. I'm not going to do it right now though. All right. Drip a little bit more of this strawberry overdose custard. See how it does. Oh yeah. That's really good. Dig stainless steel and gunmetal, especially on tubes. I definitely dig stainless steel on tube mechs. I think it looks really good. The gloss black Dreamer looks killer. I've got it sitting around here somewhere. That kind of stainless steel with the plated gloss black. That's a damn nice looking Dreamer. Stainless steel Ruby 21, hell yeah. Ruby's probably one of my favorite mechanical mods ever. It's easily the hardest hitting single battery mechanical mod I've ever come across. One that I have is Cerakoted Black. But yeah, a stainless steel one would be dope. Like to look at glass cap on stainless steel or gunmetal tubes, yeah. I can see that. Mech Mod Guy, what's up? Sorry, I'm going back through chat, see what I missed while I was building this up. I'm glad you guys liked the mesh wicking video. I had a lot of fun actually doing that because I hadn't used the profile RDTA and RDA setup for a while. It used to be my daily workhorse. I'd take it to work with me, all that shit. But eventually I kind of drifted away from it, even though I still think it's probably one of the most flavorful RDAs out there. So doing that video, I got to kind of go back to it and used it straight for a solid month just to make sure I was getting, you know, daily use out of it. I started taking it to work with me again and also be able to get, you know, kind of an adequate cotton wear on it, but you can really make a mesh wick job last way longer than you ever could wicks in a coil RDA. Handmade coils or normal pre-built coils? I like, well, I don't know. I like a few pre-built coils. As far as, are you talking about like factory made coils like the Coilology or Watofo or Hell Vapes or any of those versus like say something that was done by Coil Clout or Twisted Timmy's or Breeze Tones? Actually finally got some more Breeze Tones in. think his handle on YouTube is Sauron5 or Sauron6, something like that. He hit me up a lot on Instagram, but he emailed me and said, "Hey, I found a place that in the States that sells Breeze Tones coil." So jumped all over that, and just the other day I got them in. I have not used them in an RDA yet, but they're probably going to end up going in the Asgard Mini that's sitting on top of my orange Dreamer. Video got me to finally try out mesh. Hell yeah. Did you enjoy it? I think that like the cotton collapse hit kind of scares people off from mesh. Everyone just says dry hit off of mesh is terrible, but I don't think there's much of a difference between just a unsaturated or undersaturated hit off of mesh versus an undersaturated hit off of dual coil RDA. But that cotton collapse hit is absolutely, it's scarring. It's so bad it's scarring. So I knew I wanted to try and figure out something to kind of get away from that happening so bad. And it just luckily turned out that wicking it that fucking thick, you actually get kind of an early warning sign. Once all of a sudden the heat goes up, you know it's about time for that cotton to collapse. Michael, what's up, brother? You've been kicking ass on Twitter, man. I love it. Love watching all the advocacy on Twitter. And you definitely call motherfuckers out when they spread misinformation. I love it, man. A lot of lemonades and lemon candies. Mesh has been great for those. Yeah, I agree. Like my tart lemonade recipe that I'll make on occasion, and my lemon sour recipe, both of those I almost exclusively vape on mesh because it just works so much better. Any type of lemonade, any type of beverage kind of flavor, really. I have a green tea recipe that has a little bit of raspberry in it, and I'll normally vape that one on mesh as well. Vape the mesh tank dry watching the vlog once, actual cotton fire inside my mouth. It's not a good flavor. Yeah, no, it's not. Definitely not. And now I've had early on with mesh where I was still just kind of using the with Tofo strips or other 6mm cotton strips and had cotton collapse happen. And it would be in the middle of like, all right, I'm just going to take a huge rip off this thing and then have it catch fire because the cotton fell away. Mesh glue red hot, and then cotton caught fire. Not a good taste at all. I think that was pretty much what drove me to, all right, I gotta figure something out. I really like mesh. Has to be a way around this damn cotton collapse. Really dig this strawberry overdose custard. It definitely needs a steep. I noticed when I did the first like 15 mil tester, just off the shake, it was good, but the strawberry and the creams weren't mixing extremely well together, even though most of the strawberries that are in this are either some type of strawberry milkshake or strawberry custard, or also use SSA's milky strawberry in this, which is a really good flavor. But it does need a little bit of a steep because this is pretty much off the shake. I made this up earlier. So yeah, I think once it steeps for a few days, it'll get a lot better, and that custard in it will really pump up. Yeah, Jonathan makes some damn good coils over at Coil Clout. Yeah, I'm digging this. So, what do you guys think about all the all the laws finally kicking in pretty hardcore over in China, and places like Fast Tech and others really kind of cutting down what they used to do. I know a lot of people, I think Linda, who was in here earlier, I know she was kind of like, oh shit, because she did a lot of her ordering from China. So now she's kind of like, oh shit. Steve, I would have to agree. The El Quattros are damn good coils. All right. I'm going to clean up some of this stuff over here. But yeah, I knew it was coming with, the Chinese laws kicking into effect in November. And I'd been emailing back and forth with a couple of different companies over there. I have enough vape gear that I don't need to worry about fast tech anymore. Yeah, I mean, same here. I don't think I'm ever going to run out of stuff. Definitely set for probably the rest of my life. And I'm not too worried about China really anyway. We kind of have a whole, gray market going on here in the States. And then ordering from Europe is really not that difficult. So, not too terribly worried about it. But I know with some people in certain states, they were kind of freaking out. Yeah, Josh, that's definitely it. Back to the early days. Facebook groups, kind of those independent mod makers. The good thing now versus the early days is 3D printing. So, like, now somebody could 3D print a mod and really only have to kind of source, like the 510 and the sled, things like that. But they could print their own mod. Kind of why I really like what Jeremy does over at Voorhees Customs. He does some damn good work. A couple of people said they'd never heard of him until some of the videos I was doing talking about him. And so hopefully I sent some new business his way. I really hope so, because he's definitely worthy of a broad buyer base. Also, another thing, I wish it was a little bit easier to get stuff from Indonesia. Like, if their shipping laws weren't as odd as they are, I would try and order a lot more from Indonesia. Makes me wonder what some companies like Damn Vape is just carrying on like normal. But I don't know. I'll have to look at where they shipped out the EMF V2 RDA that they sent out to me, and see if it actually shipped out from like Indonesia or if it actually shipped out from China. Then it seems like other places over there, it's just like business as usual. But it seems like, the two of the biggies, we already talked about Fast Tech. Another one is 3F, are kind of whatever they have on hand is what they're dumping, putting huge sales, all that kind of crap. But don't know what's going to happen afterwards. But then there's some other ones that are just business as usual. So I think some of them must have warehouses and places they can ship out to that are actually technically outside of China. Jason Clouds, I agree. It'll eventually pass. Everyone that I've talked to from Fast Tech and 3F has basically said this is just until we figure stuff out. But even if they couldn't figure stuff out, we'd be able to figure it all out. Yeah, Caveman, those are still kind of just trucking along as usual. I think they have a lot more warehouses and things outside of China than some of the other ones. Ordered the Zero S yesterday, Josh. Hell yeah, man. I definitely need to get one of those. I need one of those in orange, especially for that Pandemic 30. Although it does great on the Zero 1, but it seems tailor-made for some series coils. Indonesia has a whole bunch of super exclusive RD. I know they do. They have a ton of stuff. I want that Alexa Z. Want that one bad. But yeah, they have a ton of stuff that is very exclusive to Indonesia, but it's so hard to actually get anything from there. They have such weird shipping laws. Ugly, yeah. I think that's kind of one of their things. They're like, oh shit, what are we going to do now? Because the whole customs thing, even just leaving the country, is a lot more strict. And then that whole, they have to abide by the customs rules, regulations, and laws of the country you're sending it to, which really, yeah, that's kind of oh shit for us. I don't even know what a zero mod is. It is a custom 3D printed mod maker over in Australia named Tony P. His company's called Zero Mods. He makes a bunch of different. I've got some of them over here. The Zero 1 is not in the office at the moment, but this right here is the Zero SQ Squonker. This 3D printed mechanical squonk mod. This thing is a banger right here. I love this thing. I think more squonk mods need to come out where the bottle is exposed on both sides so you can pinch the bottle instead of just pressing it in. Yeah, that squonker is real nice. Daniel, this right here. This is the Zero SQ from Zero Mods. I've got a review up for this one as well. 3D printed squonk mod. Zero Mods over in Australia. You go follow, it's at Zero Mods AU on Instagram, or there's a Zero Mods Facebook group, and just hit up the guy that does all this. His name's Tony P, and you can get all kinds more information about this thing. But this is a monster of a squonk. It's one of the hardest hitting squonks I own. And I love that that bottle is exposed on both sides so you can just pinch the bottle. This about, I think it was like 120 bucks US. Maybe 100. And then of course shipping from Australia, but the mod itself I think is 100, 120, something around there. Yeah, he does. Tony puts a laugh reaction to everything. I had the Zero 1. It got tipped over and the 510 on top of it came loose. It's like the glue seal finally gave way on it. So I had to like put all that top portion back together, and I, hit him up on Instagram and Facebook and was like, hey, is there anything special I need to know about what I need to do here? Because it looks like that 510 was not meant to come off. But I've found that, I don't know what glue he uses, but Tony needs to use a different glue. Because that happened with it. Although I got it back together and re-glued just fine. There was no problem. But on this one, these magnets right here, all 4 of these magnets have come out on me and I had to re-glue them. So these 2 down here and these 2 on the body itself have come out and I've had to re-glue them. So I don't know what glue Tony's using there, but he needs to use a different glue, I think. He thought I was screwing the atomizer down too tight, and that's what caused that. But no, it got tipped over, and as soon as it did, that seal broke, and the rest was tinkering history. And you ought to. I think more people should get into mod making. Like when I first started up the channel, it was me and a couple other guys had been talking about coming up with like CAD files that we would just give out for free, right? That basically allowed any 3D printer to print the body of the mod. And then we were trying to come up with ways that you could easily get the 510 for it. And then everything else would be something simple that you could either get from a hardware store, modify yourself, and we would have instructions in a little PDF download for it whenever you download the CAD file. And then, you know, a few other contact portions, like making them out of actual kind of screws that you could get that were silver plated screws. You could go get at Lowe's, something like that. But then it all kind of fell apart. It's still out there in the ether as far as an idea. And one of the guys that was kind of working on it with me is still very interested in making that a reality. The 510 is kind of the issue because most machinists that will make something like a 510 connection or a 510 hybrid connection, they want you to order a bunch. So it's almost something like we would have to order a bunch and then just have a site that sold them just as parts, I guess, which wouldn't really be that hard. But the whole idea of it was supposed to be that you could easily go out and get all the other pieces that you needed for it. Josh, yeah, I mean, that seems to be the general consensus is nobody really has issues. I don't know why I had, and I mean, they were minor issues. We're just talking about glue, you know, it was just re-gluing things down, tightening things down, and that was it. So they were very, very minor issues. But most everyone I've talked to in that Zero Mods Facebook group has had zero issues whatsoever. It's been nothing but love for, you know, both the mods he's released so far, and I cannot wait to get my hands on that Zero S. It looks just amazing. I definitely want to get one up in orange with the black button. Looking forward to that. Daniel, go join Zero Mods Facebook group. Hit Tony up. Send him a message and say, hey, I'm interested in that Zero SQ, man. He'll give you all the download. Love to play with the 3D printer too, not only vape mods, but pew reasons too. Yeah. I'm not going to go into that one, but yeah, I wouldn't mind messing with that too. Does Veritube still sell 510s? I don't know. I didn't really kind of reach out to a lot of the machine shops and machinists that we were kind of looking at to see what it would take, or if we could get them to sell them individually and just point everyone to them. I don't think that was one. I'm not sure. That I'm in, but I can't afford it right now. Got to be patient. Hey, I'm that way right now with Silvercraft Creations' newest mechanical mod that's about to come out called the Chaos. He has one that is black and copper, and it just looks amazing. If you've ever seen the Atlas mechanical mod, the Chaos is basically kind of the step up version, but it's super expensive. So it's something I'm definitely going to have to save up for. Plus, he's got the Danny 25mm coming out, and I definitely have to get my hands on that one. So yeah, it'll probably be a while before I get a Chaos, and I'll probably have to get it secondhand because I know the thing will sell out before I can save up for it. Veritube is still up and running. Nice. I'll have to check into them. Yeah, Silvercraft Creations, pretty much everything they make is amazing. I love the Atlas mech, Danny V2. Danny V1 was kind of the only one of his releases that I was kind of like, but it wasn't really that bad. It just had really disruptive airflow. SQ's 21, yeah, it's 21700. I don't really buy 18650 mods at all anymore. The only reason I have 18650s is a couple of regulated dual battery mods that I have still use 18650s, and then I've got a bunch of older 18650 mechanical mods that I bust out every once in a while. Especially the Tree of Life. That was my first mechanical mod, so just for nostalgia's sake, I gotta bust it out every so often. Been following that chaos. Yeah, the Kraken looked awesome too. I think he was having issues with that bottom fire button, which doesn't surprise me because it was one thing I said to him was, if you've ever seen Alter Ego Creations, I can't even think of the name of the mech. It's a mech tube and it has a Delrin body that goes over top. It's a beautiful mech, but it sucks because the fire button gets hot. It loves to stick. So then it just auto fires and it's a dangerous ass mod. Now, some people have it, and a friend of mine has one, and he has no problems out of it whatsoever. But he got he's the brass tube version with the black Delrin. I got the stainless steel version with the clear Delrin. And talking to people online, I'm definitely not the only one that has that issue. The entire fire switch at the bottom where that button is, it gets red hot really quick. And then, like I said, that little teeny button it has tends to stick. So I don't know if uh, old dude over at Silvercraft Creations had a similar issue with that bottom fire button that made him change it to the side fire bar that the Chaos has. But I would imagine it's probably something along those lines. Prefer dual 18650 regulated, 21700, everything else. Is that just like form factor and weight? Because for me, it's like battery life. ARPANET, yeah, hell yeah. The OG internet. Glad you enjoy it. I was hoping somebody would say something about either the ARPANET or I've got another one. I think I've wore it on a live stream before. Well, I had one on Noted that was Manjaro. I thought somebody Linux wise was going to say something in the comments. Then I've got another one that is a play on like the old school bulletin board systems from back in the late 80s, early 90s. Xmas is overrated anyway. We're kind of feeling that way right now. We put up Christmas trees today and it was such a chore. We were just like, my wife and I were like, why do we do this every year? Can we just get like an LED tree, just like made out of metal with LED all down it and then just call it done? I think we're gonna have to figure out something a little less stressful next year because we have like what three or four trees in this house. I was always on those lists of users that did sketchy shit on Usenet. Hell yeah. I remember the days of calling up bulletin board systems, trying to get as many bulletin boards numbers as you could. Just MP3 and movie uploads. I would rather have a second Halloween as well. I don't know about other than Christmas, but I could do without Thanksgiving if it was just, Halloween V2 that Thursday, I would be totally happy. Like the power of 21 700s. I have to. Only problem with like a dual 21-700 mod like this, or I've got the Hadron Plus, is they're so big that like if you wanted to stick something like the Nitrous or that Alexa S24, well, not so much the Alexa, but Nitrous or Wasp Nano, something along those lines, it just looks weird on top of one of these because it's just so much bigger than that little teeny RDA. Halloween V2, hell yeah. Miss the peer-to-peer world. I think a lot of people do. That was kind of like the Wild West of the internet was, just back when download, before Metallica lost their mind that somebody illegally downloaded the Black Album. It was kind of the Wild West of internet downloads. Like right when high-speed internet, broadband hit, all that shit hit. But I knew eventually, sooner or later, big business was going to step in and ruin that shit. Yeah, Black Album did suck anyway. I was so disappointed in the Black Album. Because the And Justice for All was my favorite Metallica album of all time. And then they followed it up with the Black Album of all things. So disappointed in them. Still have a couple of Pirate Bay t-shirts. Nice. I've got a Silk Road t-shirt somewhere that somebody gave me at a hacker convention down in Nashville called Freaknik, which was pretty cool. It was just like part of swag. They give out a ton of swag anytime you go to any of the, and they call them computer security conventions now, but used to be back in the day you go to like Nauticon, which was a mixture of and a hacker culture, art culture, and music culture all mixed together. Then there was always Freaknik down in Nashville that was pretty much nothing but hacking. That was always my favorite one. It's those days when you just download for free, burn on the CD on your gateway computer. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up right there. Yeah, my thing with like downloading music was there was already a lot of artists coming out around that time that were just like, let's just give our album away for free anyway, because we make most of our money on tour and merchandise and things like that. And the ones that are really into us anyway are going to end up, getting the CD, which is what it would have been at the time. CD or the mini disc. You guys remember the mini disc? Showing my age now. Actually, I was older when the mini disc came out. I actually kind of like the Load album. I liked a few songs off the Load album. But by that point, I'd already like realized Metallica was never going back to, kicking people's teeth in. They were just, but like Load and Reload to me were, they got influenced by a lot of what was going on in kind of the grunge and alternative scene. It just bled into their next two albums. I never actually had a mini disc player, but I did know several people that did, and they were like in love with them. Yeah, we had a laser disc player, Steve-O. I remember that. Laser discs were, yeah, they were not practical at all. They were huge. Couldn't really kind of jump around. It wasn't quite like a DVD just yet. Oh, they're still up, Mowgli? I haven't checked torrent. download sites in forever. Unless it revolves around anime, and there's only a few of those left, kind of kicking. Yeah, many of this were a good idea overall, but yeah. Kind of always a physical media war of some type going on. Kind of like the Blu-ray and HD DVD battle. Cassettes were awesome. Make mixtapes for your friends. The good old days. I remember like recording on cassettes on one boombox to the stereo that was playing the radio. Yeah, a bunch of them got shut down. It sucks. For authorized free bands like Grateful Dead, Fish. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Best handmade coils that ship to the UK. I'm not sure which ones ship to the UK and which ones don't. If Twisted Timmy ships to the UK, then I would definitely say Twisted Timmy's because I think he has the best handmade coils out there, hands down. Oh, nice. Yeah, there was a bunch of those that were either allowing that kind of taping at shows or just completely releasing their album for free, kind of around that time. Is there any place you can get Breeze Tones coils in the UK? Seems like Breeze Tones coils kind of find their way everywhere. But it's always like one place will have them. Coils by Scott is a UK handmade coils company. Nice. I have not tried, I don't think any UK based handmade coils. I would love to. That's definitely one I'd like to try is Cloud Cartel. Yeah. There's a Twisted Timmy's Facebook group. Just search for Twisted Timmy's, but it's spelled like with a Z. The Twisted is spelled with a Z. What is it? Timmy does ship to the UK. Yeah, I figured if he did, the rates were probably pretty damn high. Lack of cedars per promise, that's just not right. There's this younger girl that I work with. I think she's like 21, 22 maybe. All she listens to is music out of the 90s. She was listening to something and then all of a sudden it switched from that to Jerry Was a Race Car Driver by Primus. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, I don't think you'll be disappointed, especially Twisted Timmy's Fralians. They're amazing coils. I love those coils. If you like 2.5 millimeter ID coils, his Lucky 7s are amazing. All right, guys, it is almost 12 o'clock, so I'm going to have to call it. Thank you, everybody, for coming out, watching me futz and fumble around with these things, build some up, and then just shooting the shit. I always like just shooting the shit at the end. That's always good times, getting to know you guys a little more and just goofing around. All right, guys. Thanks very much for coming out. Vape on, and I will catch you guys in the next one.